something I'd like to talk about today, which kind of leads me to one of the subjects that I was thinking about today. And oh, wow. Very nice. Okay. All right. My best friend just sent me a text. We got front row for the Saxon concert. So I love Saxon, even though Paul Quinn's not coming with them. And I've seen Saxon several times with Paul Quinn. But Saxon continues to tour and they're coming down. And so easy there, Alarmo. Easy there, buddy. And so my buddy just told me we got front row. So looking forward to the Saxon concert. I like it. Uriah Heep is opening up. So, all right. I wanted to get into this today. And I guess now's a good time to get into it and talk a little bit about this. I got plenty of time here before we get to Ira Winderman. McDaniel has it's we've now gotten to know Mike McDaniel. Okay. And usually, that first year it's a honeymoon. Adam Gase, Brian Flores, Tony Sperano, Mike McDaniel, right? So that first year, a lot of times it's a honeymoon period. And then if it goes well, Adam Gase, Tony Sperano, Brian Flores. Although that first year didn't go well, but it kind of got a little better towards the end and then the second year and all that. But as the coach, stays there, you start to kind of learn who they are, right? And there's a lot of things to like about Mike McDaniel. And then now we are learning there are some things that leave, some stuff to be desired with Mike McDaniel. And it's interesting how we just talked about the Chubb thing, right? Okay, so he's an injury prone player because he's had an injury history, and you're the head coach and you keep him in there. And then in a game that was meaningless at that point, in a game that you didn't need him out on the field and several others, and you kept him out there and you lost him. And so one of the things that we're learning about Mike McDaniel, and I was thinking about this, is he has been a godsend for us in the sense of the entertainment value of it. His offense is explosive. It's fun to watch. They can score points, all that good stuff, right? That's fantastic. But then we learn the other side where he is not prepared for certain moments. His awareness of the game. Hey, there's 4 or 5 minutes left. This game is out of hand. Let me get some of my guys out of there that we don't need them to get injured. Not thinking about all kinds of things. And there goes Chubb getting injured. Then you look at Tua Tagovailoa. This is the greatest example of Mike McDaniel, positive and negative, is Tua Tagovailoa. The greatest. I'm telling you. There's another one, but it's not as good as this one. Okay. And this is all Mike McDaniel. This has nothing to do with any of the other individual players. I'm just telling you, trying to explain something to you. Okay. And just like I explained to you with Chubb, he didn't have the awareness to take the player off the field. And now he ended the player's season, hurt his team this year, hurt his team next year, because you'll be missing Bradley Chubb for a good chunk of that season. And even when he comes back, he will not be himself until the following year anyway. So let's just call it like we see it. Tua Tagovailoa, he comes in, he helps Tua, who's down in the doldrums because of the way Flo treated him, builds him back up, helps him say, hey man, you're the dude, you're fine. It was him, not you. And it's kind of what that's what I thought. And sure enough, he goes out and he's putting up great numbers. And he's putting up some excellent stats. But while he's doing that, he's also in the process of habitually building terrible habits, forcing the football to places that he shouldn't be forcing, calling plays. Last year, Warren Sharp, and if you can go find him on X or Twitter or whatever, he had a graph on the difficulty of the passing game per quarterback, and because of the distance of per yard in the pass. And the guy that had the hardest one was Tua last year, because he was throwing deeper on a consistent basis more than everybody else. And remember what I told you and I explained to you in the post-game show on Monday, that when they took the 21-14 lead and they get the ball back and they're at the 25, the first play he calls is all the way at midfield, a pass. And it's like in between like three guys. And then Tua, and this is one of those things now that I've picked up with Tua now, that Tua's going to have to start thinking on his own and changing some of this stuff. But anyway, my point is that he makes life harder on Tua instead of trying to make life easier on your offense, your line, your receivers, your quarterback. When you're calling a fade for a midget receiver, that's not fundamentally, that's just stupid. There's zero intelligence on throwing Tyreek a fade. Zero. Throwing a Rondé Gadsden a fade, that's intelligence. Okay? That's intelligence right there. Okay? Throwing Chris Chambers a fade, that's intelligence. Right? These are high point players. These are people that can find the ball at the top of, even Mark Clayton could high point the ball like nobody's business, because Mark Clayton probably had, I want to say, maybe the best body control I've ever seen a Dolphin receiver ever have. Warfield would be the other one. But in the air, Mark Clayton knew how to body people and had vice grips hands. But he had this leaping ability that was just absolutely sick. Mark Clayton could dunk and all kinds of shit. He could, squat like 500 pounds. And Mark Clayton was, that's why, when we start with this whole comparison shit, it just drives me crazy. But anyway, so you have to have the right players for the right plays. Or if not, you're going to then cause problems. And that's what you're doing for your quarterback. That's what you do to your offense and your running game, right? This past week was a great example. You killed them with the run game in the first half, and then you abandoned in the second half. So now you hurt your offensive line, you hurt your offense, you hurt everybody. You hurt your team because you're not playing to your strengths. And so he seems to do that a lot, where he can help you and he can hurt you. You have Mike Gesicki there last year. And because you're so fucking stubborn and you refuse to use him because he doesn't fit your offense, and see, that's where you're not a great coach. Because you're going to have things that don't fit, but you got to find a way to use them. You know what I mean? And you haven't been able to find a way to use Chase Claypool. It's taken you forever to get Cedric Wilson involved. And to me, that is an indictment on you, the coach. And one of the things that we're learning about Mike McDaniel is there's a lot of positives and then there's a lot of negatives. And he doesn't win challenges, which hurts his team. There's a lot of things that he does throughout a game that are constantly hurting his team. So it's not just about play design. It's about decisions that you're constantly making. Whether you should have taken Chubb out, you hurt your team. Whether you have Gesicki there, you made an agreement, obviously, at the beginning of the year to tag him and bring him back for a year, which means there was a conversation between Greer, McKenzie, Allen, and McDaniel that, hey, we're going to bring him back, try to work him in there. You didn't try. You just didn't try. And don't tell me he can't play, because he can play. I get he can't block, but you still, if you're smart, make him a big ass receiver. He's a mismatch. He's a high point player. You saw it in the Ravens game, right? Last year, Tua threw it high up in the middle of the end zone, and there's Gesicki. Wow, high pointing of football. What a concept. And why aren't you doing that? I saw Chase Claypool do that 100 times in 1 year for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So why can't you do it? I don't understand that. And so these are the things that we have to look at with Mike McDaniel. And this is why 2 weeks ago, when I told you we've hit, a fork in the road with him, and it doesn't mean that I want to fire him or anything like that. I'm just telling you that we've kind of reached a fork in the road where we need to cross a threshold with him. It's not just winning quality games. You're not going to win those quality games if you're not making quality decisions. So if you're constantly putting your offense in a disadvantage because you're not using your players the right way, because you're not using the quarterback in the passing game the right way, you're not using the running game the right way, you don't have a good awareness of what's going on. Like I told you yesterday, and I told you in the post-game show, awareness. So Tyreek, that he may not have caught that ball and the point of the football might have been on the grass. Why in the hell are you all not sprinting to the line of scrimmage to try to get a playoff so you can continue like every other team? And then force them to have to call the timeout one way or another that they didn't get time to really review it. No awareness. And they get to call a timeout. They get to reverse the call. And you, if you got busted trying to hurry up the play, at least I understand that you're awake on this, that you're getting it, that you're like, okay, hey man, let's see if we could get them off guard. Didn't even try. And so these are the things that you're hurting your team, Mike McDaniel, because you're not sharp, actually. While you're a smart guy, you're really not sharp. Both can happen. Robert Kraft is an incredibly intelligent man, but he still went to an Asian day spa to get a happy ending. Robert Kraft could easily have a security guard of his go to a hotel, rent an entire floor, have his security people stand at that elevator and make sure nobody comes up, have one or two call girls, real professionals, come over, give him his happy ending, sign a non-disclosure agreement, and walk the hell out. That's what a smart man would do with that kind of money, right? Nobody ever finds out. The professionals get their money. They sign the NDA. They walk out. Boom. He goes to an Asian day spa. The intelligent can be stupid. We all can do it, right? We all have our stupid moments. That's why we're human beings. And so both can be, reality. And that's what it is for McDaniel. We know he's smart, but he's not sharp yet as a coach. He's not even close to being a sharp head coach. He's a smart guy, but not the guy that is giving his team a constant edge because he's playing chess and everybody else is playing checkers. That's how, hate to say it, but that's how Spo is, and that's how Larinaga is, and that's how Shula was. These are people that are thinking 3 steps ahead of you. And right now, Mike McDaniel is stuck in the moment. is what he is. He's U2 in it. He's stuck in the moment. And he's not thinking 3 steps ahead. And that's his problem right now. And by the way, this is the other reason why he gets punched in the mouth and he doesn't really have a counter. The adjustments aren't there. That's another thing that he hurts his players. Offense, defense, quarterback, running game, tight ends, receivers, line. He hurts everybody because he doesn't have a counter punch. When he gets punched in the mouth, you have to wait a year later, like the Chargers, and then he'll figure it out because he had a whole year. But right there at the moment, when you punch him in the mouth, he is stunned and done, and it's over. And you're just going to flurry his ass in the corner, and here comes a referee, and it's over. Why? Because you're in the corner, and you're just taking hits. And the referee's saying, yeah, this he's helpless at this point. I got to stop the fight. And that's Mike McDaniel right now. So he's got to learn to make the right decisions. He's got to learn to handle his players the right way and put them in a consistent basis. He's got to learn how to win challenges. Okay? If he wants to be a great head coach, he's going to have to start doing more things that show his awareness in setting his team up